David, and here's my Panzer Grenadier Company. I have 2 platoons of rifle machine gun infantry, a platoon of Pioneer rifle machine guns, these are the white Pioneers, a heavy mortar platoon, a 75mm Pak 40 anti-tank gun platoon, a 75mm infantry gun platoon, 3 Panzer IV-H's, the special present for my opponent, the Elephant. Also, again, my company command with Panzer Shrek and a sniper. They're all confident veterans. My goal is to set up a kind of maybe defensive base with the infantry, using the tanks and possibly some of the infantry to push on my opponent, the Elephant providing overwatch.
I'm Jeff, and today I will be playing British. I have infantry over here, it's a little smaller platoon, infantry over here, heavy machine guns, some crocodiles, some anti-tank guns, and I got Cromwells with a Firefly and some M10s to support them. And essentially I'm going to try to use it to flame them out. I have sort of a good mixture of everything. I don't have any artillery, so I'm not sure how that's going to go, but usually I try to dig in infantry while going in after the tanks. That's my opponent. We'll see how that goes. Alright, we're going to roll for the scenario here. We got 5. What is 5? Look in the Bible of...
Breakthrough.
Breakthrough. Oh, that's going to be interesting.
In the breakthrough scenario, one player chooses 2 corners to set up in, and the other player chooses one of the other corners to set up in and tries to break through his opponent. However, he has reserve units coming in on the opposite side where the objectives are going to be, so it's really more of a flanking scenario.
Who's the attacker?
Alright, ready?
I'm the attacker.
Yeah. This is the starting setup. I'm in this section and that section, and he's coming in from this section. I've got kind of a line of infantry and AT guns along here, and I got some crocodiles to back it up. He's got this big bad boy over here, some artillery or what's it called, mortars over here, tanks coming this way, and infantry coming this way.
So let's see what the German player does with his first turn. Well, it looks like he's lining up his Elephant for the best shot it can get. And he also seems to be sweeping his infantry and other tanks around the other side. He's firing his mortars at one of the anti-tank guns, which actually won't be necessary because they can't do anything to the Elephant anyway. Let's take a look at the map. Alright, so as you can see, they've started to move this infantry and the tanks around this side while the Elephant's on the other side. Clearly the Elephant went onto this side because my anti-tank guns are on this side, but they can't do anything to the Elephant, but they could have done something to the other tank, so he might as well put the tank over where it can't be harmed and sweep the others around this way. He will probably continue this sweep up around and cut behind this infantry here. So let's take a look at my first turn, the British turn. I didn't record as the turn was going along because I was moving the figures and shooting and all that, but essentially, even though all my infantry was dug in and in foxholes and protected, they decided to move back, and the reason is because, yes, I could hold my line here in the center, but it wouldn't do any good because the objectives are back here. And if he's going to be bringing his reserves in here, he's just simply going to win if I stay where I am. It seems a little suicidal, but the British have to get to those objectives, which is actually why I chose that corner to be where the objectives are so they can take cover inside the buildings. Alright, so let's see what Dave does with his second turn. He seems to be lining up his Panzer IV so they can get a shot on my infantry, and his infantry is continuing to push forward as expected, sweeping around that way. His Elephant is going straight at my anti-tank guns since they can't do anything, and in shooting at my infantry, since they're not dug in, he does a little bit of damage, and with a sniper he hits them from behind, or shoots at them from behind, but he misses. So the sweep is continuing along this direction, as predicted, and his Elephant is pushing forward in this direction, which is pretty much what was figuring would happen. He starts to roll next turn for reserves to come in from the back, while meanwhile I'm rolling every single turn but not getting them yet. So here's how my turn 2 went.
Well, these guys shot at that and almost got the spotter up, but didn't. These guys charged that tank and got slaughtered. There were like 8 of them there, now there's just a couple. These guys pulled back because this is going to get flanked soon. These guys came around, tried to shoot them, didn't do anything, and these guys are basically moving back.
So let's take a look at what Dave does with his turn. He's pushing his infantry forward, but they're trying to catch up with their tanks. And speaking of the tanks, those Panzer IVs get into position to assault my infantry. They fire, and then they're going to be assaulting. The firing doesn't do a lot, but then his assault comes in and takes out the front line. So let's take a look at the whole map and see what's going on. The sweep has now made contact right up here, and they're pretty much just running over my infantry. But that is my smaller infantry unit. My larger one and my machine gunners are getting to the town, and they're starting to get to the buildings, so it looks like one of my infantry platoons is just simply going to have to sacrifice itself to slow Dave down long enough for me to take position inside the buildings. So on my turn, I continue to move everybody back into the town. My company commander gets to them, and they start arranging themselves to the buildings. They're right at the edge of the building, so they're not able to quite get in yet, but I'm making sure that my HMGs have cover from the oncoming tanks. Plus, my crocodiles have moved over, gotten through the woods, and are now getting in position to cover their maneuvers into the town. Meanwhile, down in this area down here, my anti-tank guns never had a chance to move fast enough. They just stayed in their foxholes and are just slowing down the elephant long enough for my infantry to get into the town. So also during this turn, the British player got reinforcements of M10s. They came in through the woods, one of them got stuck, and now finally they can take on that elephant. The one problem is they still would have to get a flank shot, and so if they just come out, well, he can just turn towards them and hit them from the front. So they're more or less just holding there so that once he pushes forward, they will be able to get him from the rear. So we come back to Dave's turn, and he rolled successfully for reserve, so they'll be coming into town. The infantry is now catching up with their tanks, and oh, here comes his reserves, and they're coming in right behind my machine gunners, and they're faced the wrong way because they were trying to take cover from the tanks. It looks like trouble for them. Meanwhile, his infantry is coming in, assaulting my anti-tank guns, and here comes the assault on my heavy machine guns. They're facing the wrong way. Well, he manages to kill the front ones that are there. The remaining ones jump behind some cover, and he gets into some of the buildings. So for his consolidation, he moves his guys back, and he's starting to take the town. So taking a look at the big map here, you can see why I call this one a flanking scenario, because it really wasn't a breakthrough. He didn't have to break through anything. He just had to have his reserves come in, and he had his reserves come in at just the right moment, just when I wasn't prepared for them. I was taking cover from the oncoming tanks, and not thinking about the fact that the reserves could come in right behind me, and they did, and they came in an assault and took out my machine guns right there. That could be the game, because without the heavy machine guns, it's going to be harder for me to defend the area. However, I do still have my crocodiles, so they might be able to do something. But now I have him coming in from 2 different directions, and my infantry is just getting to the buildings to get inside. So let's see what happens during my turn here.
Well, all these guys shot over there at them and missed. These guys shot in there at the sniper, missed, but they're assaulting now, so sniper go run away.
So this is how the big map looks. My larger infantry platoon is just now getting to the buildings and just starting to get inside of them. My smaller infantry platoon is pretty much just gone. The heavy machine gunners have taken cover and gotten themselves ready to shoot at his infantry. However, his tanks are behind them now, and it's hard for them to get cover. My crocodiles are trying to take care of that. Meanwhile, my anti-tank guns have been shooting at the spotter to try to take out the mortars, but really hasn't been doing a lot over there. So during the German 5th turn, Dave again rolls for reserves and gets a bunch on. He gets his anti-tank guns and lines them up to take out the crocodiles. He brings on his infantry to occupy the town, and when he opens fire, he takes out one of the crocodiles, and then his infantry on the other side goes in, continuing to take out anti-tank guns. So on to my turn now. Let's take a look.
Alright, these guys moved out to here, and they're going to fire at these guys, needing 5s, I believe. 1 hit.
10?
Yeah. Well, he made it 6-10. Yeah, tied. Okay, so firepower? Nada. Okay, over here, I've got the Firefly shooting. Firefly shooting. Misses. Other guy, the Cromwell or whatever, misses. We shot from these buildings at them and took out one of their guys. Now it goes, and nobody else hit. They came out, can't do anything to him. They came out, didn't hit him, and they moved forward and didn't hit him.
So moving on to the German 6th turn, one of his tanks gets caught in the woods. The other one moves back and joins the others in trying to fight back the Cromwells and the Firefly, while meanwhile his infantry comes in to assault more of my anti-tank guns. And he rolls pretty darn well in pretty much every area. So his infantry kept on their march down, the AT guns taking them all out, but this is where something extraordinary happened. He had 7 chances of a 3 or better to take them out, and he rolled all 1s and 2s, and then I fought back and actually killed somebody, and he did not manage to stay, so his infantry actually pulled back. So here's where it stands now. His march down the AT guns is stopped. His Panzer IVs have had to pull back to take care of the Cromwells behind them, and one of them even got stalled trying to do that. Meanwhile, his infantry in the town really hasn't done a lot, so the tide is somewhat turned finally, and the British might actually be able to pull this off. So moving into the British turn, the M10s have come out of hiding and are chasing after the Elephant. Now they really can't destroy it until they get a flank shot, so they're rushing forward trying to take it as quickly as possible. The Cromwells have moved forward and are having a tank duel with the Panzer IVs, and the infantry is in the town basically having a city duel with the other infantry. And meanwhile, the Firefly here in the center moved up and flamed all of the infantry that had gotten pushed back by that AT gun. So it seems that the march down the AT guns is completely done, finished off by a flamethrower that burned them all alive. So on to the German 7th turn. He continues to move his infantry up in the town, and he has his Panzerschreck and a Panzerfaust over there by my Cromwells and all those things, and keeps hitting them and taking them out with those guys. Actually, they've done more than his tanks have. So during my turn, the M10s continued to chase down the Elephant, and in trying to sweep around and get a flank shot, it took out the mortars. The Cromwells continued to try to take out his tanks and his infantry, but he just keeps saving, and the infantry inside of the town kept on doing their shots at his infantry and taking one out after another, just little bits and pieces here, chipping away. He's chipping at me, I'm chipping at him. So going back to the German turn, they go rushing up to the building the British are in, but they can't quite get into it this turn. They're going to have to wait until next. But they're clearly trying to assault it. The British shoot out of that, but don't do enough to pin them down. So when the German turn comes along, they rush in, they do their assault, they don't get pinned, and they take out the infantry there, thus clearing away anybody who can stop them at the objective. So that ends with a German victory.
So basically, I screwed that one up a bit. A friend of mine made the list, made a very good list, but I was trying to rush everybody over there at the beginning to defend that one area because they knew the flankers were going to be coming, but I forgot they'd be coming in so soon and got them sort of hit from behind. And my opponent did very well in exploiting the mistake and went running in there, and also kept his Elephant pulling back, so I wasn't able to get behind that. So I'll just have to remember that and correct it next time.
Alright, well, things overall went well. Not exactly the way that I thought they would develop, but they did go well. My opponent did make a mistake with his heavy machine guns, which allowed me to run them over. But other things seemed to go well. I had some very valiant troops that held on, and I had a Panzerschreck and a Panzerfaust team that deserve accolades for taking out virtually an entire armored platoon on their own. And overall just held them up and was able to wear them down and eventually push for the victory. So it went well, and it was a very fun game.